Okay, in this video, we are going to start right back into where we ended up on part three of the series, or part two, I mean, at the end of part two. But, anyways, I just wanted to go over some real quick stuff. Like, everybody always asks, like, what's the right size excavator for me? What size excavator would I need? And that all depends on what kind of work you want to do. Pretty much just, I've been around excavators and construction a long time, and you got guys that will only have backhoes, you got guys that only have excavators. You don't see too many people, of course, with like the Kubota tractors with the add-on backhoes. Every now and then you do, though. But every company that I've ever known, pretty much, that uses excavators will all have a 4-ton excavator. It just seems to be the kind of sweet spot of a machine where it's light enough to haul to a job site. Doesn't cost as much as some of the larger ones, but they all seem to have a 4-ton. It's a good medium size to start out with. So there's some things that I can't stress enough here is that when your machine's down in the shop, your bills don't stop, your payment doesn't stop, your insurance doesn't stop. So always keep your maintenance up on your machines. And always remember, whenever you're going to dig anywhere, I don't care if it's from a friend, for church, or what it is for, always have blue staked or your utilities marked out, because it is your responsibility. If you hit a $100,000 fiber optic or gas line or electric, I mean, you could be killed if you hit electric, but you just really need to pay attention when you get to these job sites. As you start driving up to the job site, start to notice, hey, do you see power lines in the air? Because if you see power lines going from a pole to the house in the air, well, then maybe, maybe everything is in the air, and you don't have to worry about digging up the power lines in the ground. But pay attention. Do you see easement in places where looks like there's kind of like a road and they're not maintaining it? But you can kind of tell if there's an easement and stuff like that. But most generally, if you're digging on private property, you would just hit something that belongs to the homeowner, like a water line, gas line, electric, and some of these homeowners, when they're building these shops and stuff, they don't waste any money digging trenches the right depth for what kind of material they're putting in them. Say, for instance, a lot of times if you're using hard electrical pipe, galvanized pipe on electric, you can bury that like 16 inches versus the 24 inches. So people do that kind of stuff. Direct burials, usually like 36 inches and stuff like that. But you just have to pay attention as you get in the field longer. You go over to dig out for a septic company, and you kind of look over the situation. You might be okay. But just use your head, because you're the one that's going to get charged for it. So, anyways, if you when you're buying an excavator, nobody knows the right size for you. But like, say if you did end up with a 4-ton excavator, what I usually recommend for buckets is I recommend a 12-inch tooth bucket, a 12-inch smooth utility bucket. Smooth utility buckets are awesome when you're digging around utilities, of course. When you're trenching, so 12-inch tooth bucket, 12-inch smooth utility bucket, 18-inch tooth bucket, 24-inch tooth bucket, and a 48-inch smooth bucket for ditching, or a tilt bucket. Now, the reason I say on this 12-inch smooth utility bucket is when you're digging a wall footer, 24-inch wall footer, and you have a tooth bucket on there, you're pretty much trying to get every bit of dirt in that scoop, or with that tooth bucket. You're trying to dig a ditch quickly. Okay, when you have a utility smooth bucket on there and you're digging with that utility bucket, you're just scraping the ground, because you don't know if you're near a water line. You usually have somebody, an observer looking at the hole while you scrape, and you're not taking the scoop you would with like a tooth bucket or something, because once you find your utilities and stuff, yeah, then you can put your tooth bucket back on, or whatever what you want to do. But the main thing is, and I see these guys all the time, these utility companies digging with these utility buckets. They're made for scraping. But anyways, I'll do a whole video on buckets. I'll do a whole video on machine sizes and what's the machine size for you. But let's just think about what I like to say is there's like four things that kind of judge what size excavator you need, because the size excavator I need isn't the size excavator you need. I don't know what you're doing. Are you digging pools? Well, I got two guys digging pools. One guy digs resort pools, which are like Olympic sized pools, and one guy digs them tiny little pools in the hard access little backyards that are a little bigger than a spa. Or he's actually digging holes to put spas in the ground. So the guy that's doing the spa work and the backyard homework, he's good with like a 2-ton excavator with the extendable. He can slide his tracks in to go through a gate and then slide them out when he needs a little more stability. But he's not going to do the work a guy's going to do with a 4-ton. But a guy with a 4-ton excavator is not going to be able to get into the in the backyard to do the work the guy with the 2-ton can do. So crazy thing about these machines is you can actually make as much profit with a 2-ton machine as you can a 20-ton machine. For when you factor in everything, employees, lowboy to haul the machine, and it's amazing. I could go over some stuff with you someday if anybody's ever interested like that. But so, trenching, what kind of trenching are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing mainline trenching for sewer and electric and water lines, for municipalities? Or are you going to be doing a trenching for a sprinkler contractor or, a homeowner contractor putting in a water line or electric line to a new shop or something like that? Well, most trenching is done with an actual trenching machine. It's a lot faster, but they can do the trenching for sprinkler systems and stuff like that. But what if the guy, what if you needed to dig out a tree root, or what if you needed to move logs with the thumb, or all kinds of stuff, do a pad for a house. All this kind of stuff can be done with an excavator versus it can't be done with a trencher. So every type of machine has, what it's good at and not good at. But a small excavator, I mean, even if it's a 3-ton, or, this one that I've been doing this video with, it actually ends up being like they rate it at a 3.9 ton. Plenty of machine to do tons of work with it. In the old days, the trucks weren't as capable to set these cement septic tanks. Now the trucks can pretty much put those things right where they need to be. Then again, you think about it, a lot of these septic tanks now are plastic. I got buddies that don't even have an excavator. They just rent stuff, and they'll set a septic tank just by rolling it in the hole and leveling it up. So, things are changing out there. But, what size... So one is what are you doing? What's your jobs? Okay. 2 is what is your access to these job sites? Because if you can't get the machine in there, it doesn't matter if you have a beautiful brand new 10-ton excavator. If it won't go to where you're trying to do the job, it doesn't matter. You're going to be down renting a machine if you're going to do it with a machine. And the third thing is really critical is how you're going to move this machine. I've known guys that have bought too big of machines and they're just too hard to move. And by the time you have to have a CDL driver, a CDL truck, a CDL trailer, it's a big cost. I mean, that's what I'm saying. A guy can make more with a 2-ton excavator than a guy with a 20-ton excavator, unless you have, if the guy's got municipal jobs lined up for the big machine, then yeah, everything works out just fine. And so the fourth thing that I always think about with people is cost. How much is everything going to cost? You can get into a 2-ton excavator, you can put it on a car hauler trailer, you can tow it with an easily, a light half-ton truck. So you're pretty much not going to have to spend much money on that, as when you get into the bigger excavators, that's why the 4-ton is so great for these guys, in business. Is you can generally put it on a pretty small, it has to be a good trailer, that's for sure. It's not going to be a car hauler, but there's just a lot of aspects to look at. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave them in the comments, and I'm sure I'll answer them for you or somebody else will. So let's get started. Sorry for the rant and the rave, but I will make eventually a whole video on what you need and what would be the best for different situations. But it's going to be a while before I get that video made, and this one's about ready to go. At least you could, if you're going to rent an excavator or buy an excavator, thinking about starting a excavation company, I think that kind of stuff will definitely help you. Is actually going to work our clamp or thumb. Let me go ahead and move it to the side here so we can probably see a little better. So I'm using the boom swivel or pivot. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go out with this. Well, actually, let's keep it in close here. I'm going to move this to the right, and that brings the thumb up. If I move this little switch to the left, it's going to bring that thumb down. Hopefully you can see that there. Let me get my bucket out of the way a little more. So if we were wanting to pick a rock up or a tree or something, I'm going to go down with the thumb. And you can do either way. That's my thumb all the way. See that? See all the chrome on that cylinder there? That's extended all the way. So now if I wanted to pick a rock up or something, I would just bring my bucket into it. And you can also see when you have the right size buckets, like these are Bobcat buckets. Of course, that's a Bobcat thumb. And you see how the way the thumb fits in the teeth. That helps you a lot to be able to pick stuff up, okay? So if I go back to the right, there my thumb comes up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you the controls first here. But let's see. So let's pivot this back to where it's straight. And right now, this machine is in what we call SAE control, or backhoe control, as a lot of people call it. And it's just really what you get used to when you start running the equipment. I can do both. It doesn't really matter to me. I probably actually, which is kind of weird, I probably actually like backhoe controls a little better. And that's what we're in right now. We're in the SAE configuration. So what that would mean is this, I said this big arm out here is called our boom. If I push forward on this joystick, it lowers that boom. See the big part is going down there? If I pull back on this joystick, it's going to raise that boom. Okay, on this other joystick over here, remember this one was our dozer blade over here. This one is our stick or dipper, whatever you want to call it, but you can see it going out there. And then if we were to move this joystick to the left, it brings our bucket in. And if we were going to move this joystick to the right, it's going to bring that bucket out. So if I go up with my boom and then in with my stick, I can move my bucket like that. And I can also, when I'm hooked up right now to the thumb, I can move the thumb. If I had a tilt bucket or something plugged in out there on the auxiliaries, then this same switch right here would work that tilt bucket. And one nice thing that's kind of neat about this one with this upgraded, now this does have, I forgot to tell you guys that, but this does have the upgraded display. This is a 7-inch display. The other one that comes in it is smaller. This one's kind of neat because if you did, but it's kind of neat because you can change your attachments on there for whatever you have on there. If you were going to have a power tilt on there or a ripper, a clamp. Clamp is what we got on there right now. See, they call it a clamp. Everybody calls it a thumb. You could have a hydro tilt. You could have a packer wheel, auger, plate compactor, flail mower. It just depends on, it just changes the way the flows work and stuff like that. And if you did, say you did go in here and you wanted to change the flow, you could actually do that on different ones, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nice. Kind of does all the same thing anyways, but you know, you'll get used to the machine and if you like it or not. But if you want to get back to just your standard gauges, you push the gauges button right there. And if you go over here, you can see all your critical stuff. Oops, let's see. Oh, right here. push that, you see all your critical, you know, your temperatures, your batteries, and all that kind of stuff, or battery voltage. We go back here to the vital details. This is actually a fuel gauge right there. You can see it's about a little over half full, and that's a fuel gauge right there. If we're looking, this of course air conditioning, heating vent. This does have the upgraded cab on it with the heated seat and all that kind of stuff. So it does have the comfort package and the performance package with the bigger engine, turbocharged 33 horsepower Tier 4 engine. This one right here, if we set this to auto and we set our temperature on this knob, this just turns your compressor on and off. So if you wanted air conditioning on, you do have to have that on. If you want to heat on, you don't have that on, but you could set it to heat. And then this one controls your radio volume. This takes you back to home on the screen when you push it. This is your auxiliary right here. If you're having a hard time getting things disconnected, you can push this right here. This one right here is your for your phone, and this one right here mutes everything. If you you know, if you got the radio going or something, you want to mute everything, you just push that button right here and it'll mute everything. And this turns your lights on and off. Then that's pretty much the only switches. Now if I wanted to go back to my camera, I would just push that. If I want my camera to be full screen, push it again to go back to regular screen. Now the only thing that I haven't really shown you so far is the Bobcat exchange system on the bucket. Let me go here, let me go in my bucket a little bit. And what I was going to say is when you switch over from ISO, like I said, this is in SAE right now, which a lot of people call BACO. It's all it does is you flip that little lever. Now this is bringing my boom up and down when I'm in the SAE mode. Now if I were in the ISO mode, this lever over here, if I pulled this lever up, it would do my boom, and vice versa. If this one right now does my stick, the farthest arm or the dipper, and if I were in the ISO mode, then this one would work the dipper instead of the boom. You're still going to be left and right on your house movement. So if I move to the right, it moves the house or the cab. If I move to the left, moves the cab to the left. And this one's over here is still going to move your bucket the same way. But the only thing it's going to swap when you change the configuration is which one moves your boom, your main section, and then your dipper section out there. Okay, so and there's a look at that red knob on this thing. When I have this in the up position, I can't move anything, which is nice. If you leave it running, you're getting out, you're letting it warm up or something. So when I push this down, and you can use your foot pedals down there or the levers to move the machine. And if we look over here on this side, there's only two other switches that I haven't shown you yet. This one, of course, is your windshield wiper switch. This is the actual exchange switch. If I were to push this to the right, it would be in. If I push it to the out, it would be out. What I'm getting at is on the exchange, if I go ahead and pivot my bucket over, and if I bring my boom up, if I go ahead and bring my stick in, and let me put this it's kind of hard to show you. That's a 24-inch bucket on there. I don't think you'll be able to see it. Let me see. If I go down this way, you'll be able to see it. Now you saw that first chrome pin out there, and if it keeps going up, you'll see another black pin out there in a bushing. So if I take my bucket and I sit it like this, you can see those two little nubs on there. If I take it on the exchange and I push it to the in position, I'm going to let you guys watch this. So I push that button to the in position, that bucket is going to drop down and hang on those little tiers. See that? Now that bucket, if I move out on the bucket, it's just hanging there, and I could go set it down and pick up another bucket. Okay, so if I wanted to put this bucket back on, say I wasn't done with it, I need to use it. I'm just going to go ahead and swivel it over here a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and go out just a hair, and I'm going to push down a hair. As you start watching that mechanism out there, you'll get used to where you figure out how everything works. If I go out with it and go down a little bit, put a little pressure on it, and then I go and I push the button here that says out, it's going to clamp on that. It's going to, right now that pin is retracted, and it's going to Well, thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. I think it's going to take one more video, and I'll be finishing up this series on the mini excavator, the Bobcat mini excavator. But one thing I did want to say, all these little excavators like this, they're all the same. I mean, they're not all built by the same person. They're not exactly the same, but they're all pretty compatible, and things just work a little bit different. But go see your dealers, and I do have manufacturers that do offer us discounts and stuff like that. So if you well, sometimes they do. Right now I don't have any, but every once in a while we do. So they give you a little discount for the Tractor Channel. So hit us up. You can go to Tractor Channel and email us. And if you're a manufacturer and you want us to take a look at some of your equipment and give some of our customers some discounts or anything like that, then the reason I don't really show the Bobcat laser digging system is these iDig cells. They have really reasonable systems. They're wireless. You can take them on and off at night if you want to. They solar charge. You can get a second equipment bracket kit, and you can take your one system and put it on as many excavators as you want to use, which is kind of nice because if you have a bigger excavator and you don't use it all the time, and then you have a smaller one and then you use it, instead of buying two expensive systems, you can just buy one, and then everything is saved in memory. So when you put it on the smaller system with that bucket or whatever, you just click on that smaller system. And I would like to work with Bobcat on all their stuff just to show everybody how it works and everything. But I don't know. I don't know if we'll hear much from Bobcat. But if we do, they want to offer any discounts, they want us to test any machines or sponsor anything for us, we'll let you guys know. But like I said, please like and subscribe. Please visit idigsales.com, and there's going to be I think one more video in this series. And like I did say, most of these little machines like this, now these are, a lot of people call them mini compact excavators, but well, a lot of people call them mini excavators, but really what these are is these are mini compact excavators. So when you really get to a mini excavator, it's quite a bit bigger. So, all right, well, thanks a lot, everyone. And if you have any questions about anything, please leave it in the comments. Thank you.